Peace and love, everyone. Samut with Mama Yoga's Wellness, Whole Person Prosperity, and Mind Body Energy in Balance. And this is the Mind Body Energy in Balance show. Thank you and welcome, and thank you for listening. So, our topic today is going to be one that I think is going to speak to a great number of people. I know that I definitely have my experience with this particular topic. And I'm sure that, it will resonate with many of you out there. Before we get into today's show, I want to open the show as I always do, giving honor and praise to our divine ancestors because it is on their shoulders upon whom I stand. Much, much love and honor to all those who have gone before and paved the way that I may be here able to have these discussions with you around our vitality, strength, and honor, from whose teachings that I have learned. All those great teachers, I give honor and praise to them who have graced my life, who I've been able to, digest and assimilate and, really, understand from their teaching perspective, those teachings that they share with us. And of course, to God, whom all praise is due, and there is nothing that would happen in this world without God's love and grace on my life. And for that, I say Ashe, and I give much thanks. Before I get started, I want to give a shout out to some of my key supporters in the show, and for years that we've been, pulling this information together and really seeking to share this information with you all here. Shout out to Keswa Mukim, Devin Keswa Mukim. This sister just opened a beautiful hair shop, not to do hair, but to where you can get your beauty supplies from. It's called Total Hair and Beauty Supplies, and it's down in the Browns Mill area. If you want to, stop giving your money, wait, hold on here a minute. Let me just digress just a second. We give our money in the black community. $1 stays in our community, I think something like 7 seconds, or some crazy number that's, not even, that's really kind of dust, right? So here we are, women of color. We buy more hair than anybody, more lotion, more cream up the body than anybody out there, any other people out there. And for the most part, we spend those dollars with people who don't look like us, whose hair is not like our hair, whose interests really are not our interests. And that the stores that you shop in, the people could be pleasant and a joy to shop with, but go back there and try to get a refund. Go back there and say, you know what, this is not the hair I wanted, or this hair ain't doing me right. You ain't getting no money, honey. You're going to get a store credit for something else that's in that store. They have an agenda. And ain't nobody mad at them for having their agenda. They supposed to have an agenda. We are too, right? In this age and time that we live in, people make it dirty, nasty, evil, or, you something wrong with you if you celebrate, stick up for, and are in love with your own cultural perspective, and cultural, survival. I don't buy that. I say it's nothing wrong with celebrating your culture. That's not to diminish anyone else's culture, but we ain't talking about nobody else's culture. We talking about our culture. So we should be able to celebrate that unashamedly and stand strong and proud and, with a surety next to any other person with their culture on their side as well. And we seek, the sameness is the humanity. That's what's the sameness, right? So that's all good to celebrate too. But I will not be, silenced or ashamed about talking about and celebrating my culture and taking a pride in seeing that our cultural perspective is celebrated and uplifted. So this sister, Devin Keswa Mukim, has opened her own hair and beauty supply store down in the Browns Mills, New Jersey area. And if you want to, you can go there and shop with her. She's at 609-735-1700, 609-735-1700. Stop in there, give the sister some support. some support. Go and buy a body cream from her, or some kind of hair thing, to go in there to show her that you support her. Also, here in the Trenton area, you can go to Paris Hair and Beauty Supply, another beautiful couple who have established, a beauty supply company, and they are, even mentoring people into how to improve their health and their hair and their skin through the products that they offer as well. So those are two great resources that we can go to support in terms of our hair and beauty needs. Simply Netfa, I want to shout her out, my dear sister Netfa Bell, who has been in the adornment business for a long time, and she is sponsoring a Take Back Your Health event for this weekend's National Women's Health Week. Take Back Your Health. It's going to be at the Willingboro Public Library. If you're in the South Jersey area, in the Philadelphia area, Central Jersey, come on through. It's a free event. There are going to be several of us giving talks and lectures around what it means to be healthy, the various dynamics and dimensions of making sure that you have health, well-being, and vitality. So we're going to be there this Saturday from 1 to 5, I think it is. Anyway, you can go to willingboro.gov, I think it is. Hold on, let me just make sure I got that right. Yeah, willingboro.org, and then go to the May events, and you'll see the event all the way down at the bottom on a Saturday. If you want any more details about that, you can go for that. But I always like to shout out people who are doing things in our community. Wellness and healthy living is not one-dimensional. It's not just about the food you eat. It's not just about exercising. Being well is about managing your mental health. It's about managing your financial well-being, because Lord knows if you got some bills you trying to pay, that can, people do stress eating, and, you go into a depression and all these things. So your financial health is your financial, well-being is tantamount to the rest of your lifestyle in terms of living a healthy lifestyle. The relationships that you're in, really trying to show how being healthy is not one-dimensional or even two-dimensional, exercise and eating. If you're in a relationship that's challenging, that's causing you a lot of grief, that is, worrying and vexing and, stressing you out, that is very, very, that does not bode well for your health. So your relationships, you want to make sure that you have harmonious, loving relationships with people. And these are all, the dynamics that make up, a healthy lifestyle, or living a healthy lifestyle as best you can. So to that end, today I want to talk with you about a subject that kind of came to my sphere of awareness, and I'm going to share it as I always do from my perspective. And if it resonates with you, let us know out there. If you like this video thus far and you like the work that I'm trying to bring forward to you and the message, hit like, share it with your friends and family, and you never know who wants to hear or who needs to hear the message that's being brought forward. So I was chatting with a friend recently, and she was telling me about another friend of hers who has a really strong relationship with, a good relationship with a man that came into her life, right? And this friend's friend, was saying how lovely he is, and, how wonderful it is to be with him. And someone else was saying to her, yeah, but he don't do this, he ain't got that, he ain't doing this. And she had to check her friend, like, you know what? He's exactly what I need for me. Like, what you think he should be doing is your expectation of being in a relationship. And her friend was like, oh, yeah, I guess that's right. I do have expectations of what it means to be in a relationship with a man. And that got me to thinking, in fact, meditating on the understanding that our expectations, right? The way we imagine a thing should go, the script that we put together in our minds about the way a thing should go, really can be blinding to the beauty and the gifts that are before you. So I want to say, don't let your expectations make you miss out on the gifts in front of your face, present before you. Oftentimes, especially we do this as women, like we have a script in our mind. Everybody does this, but it just, women, we're so much more emotional, that the script seems to be a lot louder for us. So we have a script in our mind, right? And not just our own invention, but the media has, given us a script of what a relationship should be about, how a relationship should go for a man and a woman. It's got to be dining and whining and companionship, and nothing ever goes wrong, and it's sweet and it's lovely and it's flowing, and well, I'm just going to say that that's not really all how it goes all the time, right? Yes, you can have aspects of that, but the reality of it is, from a spiritual perspective, mating with someone is about increasing your spiritual quotient. It's about finding that resonant partner, somebody who resonates at the same vibration that you're resonating at, to mirror your behaviors, your fears, your concerns, your successes, your joys, the good, the bad, and the ugly, the fabulous and the challenging, right? It's about helping you to grow into the highest spiritual adult person that you can be. That person pushes those buttons because you got those buttons, right? That is an area of tenderness in your mind body energy, that if we adopt a perspective of maturity, a perspective of personal development, right? Self-development. Those buttons, then you say, well, this is coming up in my awareness because this is something that's going on with me. Let me take responsibility for my own actions and feelings about this particular trigger. So the person who's in your life could be marvelous for you at the time that you're in your life. But the expectation of what being in a relationship is supposed to look like is not necessarily one-for-one matching the example or the manifestation of that relationship in your life. Don't let your expectations, the script in your mind, invalidate the gifts of the person who's before you, what they're bringing to you, and the gifts they're bringing for you in your mind-body energy. Being in a relationship at its highest perspective is about you and that person working on yourselves, personal self-care, self-development, each to their own, and then bringing the best of what you have to the table. Not you bring your sad, miserable, depressed, heavy, non-productive energy to that person and they supposed to fix it for you. Right? That's too much responsibility to be given to somebody else, that they just supposed to fix all the shit going on with you in your life. You are supposed to be responsible for your own happiness. The person that comes to your life, your mate, is supposed to be responsible for her own happiness. And then the two of you each working on improving your own mind body energy, correcting the misperceptions of what being together is about, or the expectations of your partner in your life, correcting those to a more harmonious reality, win-win understanding, and acknowledging, celebrating, and embracing the gifts of the person who is your partner that is bringing you to your life. Now that is a relationship for the long haul. That is a relationship that is, healing. That's a relationship that is, enduring, in other words. But when you are dragging your baggage, you're dragging your ill behavior, you're dragging your conditioned behavior to the relationship from all the other relationships and all the ways of being, that person's dragging all their stuff, and y'all try to put that together, it's an explosion of calamities. Is emotional, it is unreasonable, unrational, non-rational. It is just kind of like a mess, right? Don't let your expectations invalidate the gifts of the person who is standing before you. So she might not cook the way your mama cooked or the way you know how to cook, but she's devoted, she's loyal, she's loving, and she's receptive to what you're trying to impart to her. So because she don't cook the way or as often or whatever, you're going to throw her out, because that's an expectation in your mind that's not being met. So you invalidate the rest of the gifts. Right? She's good with money and some other things that's not on your list of what a woman is supposed to be for you in your life. Right? He's not as engaging or affectionate. He, doesn't really, let's see, what other things can I think of that people have shared? He doesn't even, he does not necessarily want to go to the movies, and it's not about whining and dining and those types of things. But he's excellent with money. He's excellent in other aspects of your life that help you to mature and to clean up some things that's going on with you in your life. He's devoted, he's loyal, he's passionate about you and what you're trying to do in your life, and he supports all of that. So because y'all ain't sitting out at whatever restaurant every weekend, or going to the movies, or hanging out with friends and all that kind of stuff, or he's not going with you everywhere you want to go, you're going to throw the rest of it out. Don't let your expectations invalidate the person's gifts in your life. You are responsible for your own happiness. I know. All the movies have romanced us. As some Afro spiritualists say, it's Roman antics. Romantics is Roman antics. Have romanced us and lulled us to sleep about what is supposed to be when you are mating with someone. But the reality of it is, if you give the role of your happiness over to someone else, then you have abdicated your right, in a way, to be your own determinant. That's too precious a practice to give your happiness over to someone else. It's too precious, because then that person has a chain that they can jerk you all around, because you all emotionally caught up in the wrong way. So if that person doesn't do this, then you ain't happy. If that person does this the way that you don't think it should be done, now you got another emotional lip hanging to the ground, or miserable, and you are creating a perpetual and consistent emotional behaviors that are not conducive to uplifted mind body energy way of living. You can't turn your happiness over to anyone else. You have to be responsible for your own happiness. So what do I mean by happiness, right? I don't mean experiencing, a sense of joy all the time. What I mean by happiness, and I think Dr. Raul Nefer Amen illustrates this the best when he talks about the Kemetic, the ancient Egyptian spiritual philosophy talks about happiness is moving from a state of inner peace to a state of self-induced joy. Ooh. Where there is a peace, a calmness, a peace within your spirit. Ain't nothing gnawing at you, right? You don't allow anything to disrupt your divine right to be at peace internally. And when the external environment is coming against you in an adverse way, you can know that God has hardwired us with training, because it's a training that's got to take place, because we don't get that in this society, right? We're taught to put your emotions on your sleeve and be emotional and just let your, your behavior flow how you feel. But when you're trained to understand that peace is your divine nature, that you came from source energy, which is a peaceful flowing current, and that is hardwired within your physicality, within your mentality, with indeed that spiritual thread anchored on earth to heaven. That when adversity, when universal forces come against you, not universal forces, but external forces come against you, worldly forces come against you, that you can turn to that peaceful energy within you through certain meditative practices, through certain ways of being, and keep your mind-body energy in balance. And then, you can always call up the joy within your mind-body energy. It's not needed. You don't need anything external to trigger your joy. Now, that's not to say that you can't experience external things and bring your joy to them, or allow that joyful energy to come up when you experience those joyful things, like when you go see a good movie, or you're with family and friends, or you see someone you haven't seen in a long time. There's a certain warmth that comes over you that we can make synonymous with a joyful experience. When you are in a loving space with your partner, let that joyful flow, that joyful feeling and energy flow, right? But we're saying that the highest purpose for relationship is to understand that you bring your joy to the relationship, not the relationship is supposed to give you joy. There's a difference in understanding that I can function from a state of peace than understanding that my external environment is supposed to help me be peaceful, or I'm supposed to get peace from the external environment, or things around me need to be peaceful. But this is a high level of training that I'm talking about here. The average person, the average person is not there. But we need to start having this conversation, because if we're going to have exalted or high relationship experiences, or better relationship experiences, it starts with understanding that your happiness is under your responsibility. And what we mean by your happiness is, no matter what the other person is doing, you have the option, and you should exercise the option, to still feel a sense of peace inside your spirit. Now that doesn't mean if a person is doing, all kind of crazy things that you don't have to check that, or you shouldn't, talk with them about it or seek some type of reconciliation around things that they're doing. But ultimately, it's up to you to make sure that you are engaging and that you're bringing that peacefulness, that joyfulness to the forefront of your life. Because people, you cannot turn your, powers of joy and happiness over to somebody else. It will always be a disappointment because people are fallible. People have selfish intent. People have self-interest. People may not know how to be other than they are and may not be interested in personal development and self-improvement and self-empowerment. You see? So we can't really turn that over to anyone else. That's your responsibility. And then the exalted way of being is to, not let your expectations, the script in your mind, become or invalidate the gifts that a person is bringing, to the table. Try to look at the person in as holistic a way as you can. And then you and your mate, seek self-improvement, seek personal development separately and together. And that then gives for a more rounded, more harmonious relationship and relationship dynamics. Don't let your expectation, the script in your mind, decrease the beauty of the person who's standing next to you. Now, if their energy is really kind of like, I'm not saying, the script in your mind is saying that you should have, reasonable expectation that somebody treats you with care and the person is treating you really, really poorly. I'm not talking about that. I hope everybody understands that that's not what I'm talking about. But oftentimes, and particularly women, we have an idea of how everything should go. And when things don't go just that way, we get sad, we get depressed, we start treating our mate, our partner in a way that, is inappropriate, and we become angry, bitchy, and all these other terms you want to use, when in fact, oftentimes the script is not a real script, is not realistic. It is a fanciful script, and we have decided, we've abdicated our responsibility to our own happiness. Right? You're in charge of your own happiness. And then once you are intent on keeping your own energy peaceful, buoyant, joyful, that relationship between you and the higher power, once you've decided that there's no relationship higher than that, and that is going to be your lean on, that is who you are entrusting and in partnership with for your happiness, then the mate in your life, you shine joy and love and energy on that mate in your life. And most times, the mate will level up and shine love, joy, energy on you. Right? So that's my message for this particular show. Thank you so much. Let us know what you think about the topic. I'd love to have a dialogue about it. Who's responsible for whose happiness? And tell me about some times that your expectations invalidated the person's gifts. Leave a message. Let's have a chat up, tribe. The Mama Yoga Wellness Tribe. Let's have a chat up about this particular message. And also share this video, like it. Go on iTunes and leave us a review. We'd love to know what you think. And if you have an idea for a show topic that you want me to address, I'd be happy to look at your information. If you can come out this Saturday, I don't usually like to date my shows, but since we're having these two events, it's National Women's Health Week and Take Back Your Health at the Willingboro Public Library in the South Jersey area. That's going to be at 1 p.m. Saturday, May the 12th. Come on out. We have some dynamic speakers. My good friends Mancho and Nuwasha of Acoma House Initiative. They are relationships experts and black love experts. Woohoo! Shout out to Mancho and Nuwasha, and a dear friend of mine, Divine Allah, under the Movement is Medicine program. He's going to talk about the dynamics of moving your body and why you should not just, do a treadmill on 2 incline and 3.0 for like 20 hours. He'll go through various ways to exercise the body, and there's a host of other talks that will be given there. There's going to be vendors. It's a free event this Saturday, May 12th. If you're in the South Jersey area, come out to that. Also this Saturday, I will be giving a talk on, hair, skin, and nails is an inside job, talking about how to increase your mind-body energy for your external glow and beauty at Total Hair and Beauty Supply in Browns Mills, and that number is 609-735-1700, and I'll be giving that talk at 7 p.m. It's kind of, meet and greet, come out and celebrate Sister Keswa Mukim's new business. So if you're in the area and you, want to come through, you can come on through. We'd love to have you. And for now, be kind to yourself, love yourself, work on improving your own mind, body, energy. Happiness is your job, your responsibility, and I wish you much love, peace, and success, prosperity, and abundant health. Till next time, peace and love.